right, so this is another podcast here, but this time we have Clint and Dee and Keegan and Clint's daughter.
Hello.
Evie, right? That's right, it's Evie. She's just staring at me. Clint, you gave permission for your daughter to be on this show, right?
Yep. I brought her, I suppose. I should take responsibility for her.
Yeah, that way he knows she's on here.
Right
so,
now.
one of the things that the group does too in hobbies is the RC stuff, or at least we're getting into it now a little bit. Clint's pretty much jumped in the pool.
Yeah, and I do want to get a couple of the tanks so we can do the laser tag stuff with the tank, because Keegan's all down with that.
Who's going to fight that? Nobody's going to complain, right? You realize there's...
Yeah, no, we're just going to... I just figured we'd buy a couple, we'd give it a try, we'd do some videos, we see if we like it. If we like it, we start saving up to invest in more. There's a lot of really cool tanks. I would like the King Tiger for the German tanks, because that's a cool one, and those come already loaded with the laser stuff. You just plop your batteries in and play.
So laser, as in you're going to do laser
So it's
tag.
basically laser tag for tanks, yep. Sensors go in top on the commander's hatch. There's a little dome sensor that registers the hits. Some of the tanks, depending on who the manufacturer is, will have lights on the side of the turret that light up. Others will have just internal. So the I can't remember the one more popular one from the, I think it's Henmang is what it's called. So every time the tank gets hit, it shakes.
Oh.
So, but those are cool because when you fire, the gun recoils, the tank goes kaboom and shudders.
So it has
Every time
some
you shoot. So it
effects.
looks, and then you can get some that have smoke kits, which you can get smoke out of the barrel or you can get smoke out of the exhaust system. And then as you drive them, they rattle and clatter and make sounds. And then when you're accelerating, you accelerate.
And this is something we could take to Tank Fest, because we are going to
Yeah, sure.
right, one year.
Right,
someday.
yeah.
I think
And
they'd be
where
very
is this?
thankful that we did that.
Tank Fest? Where is it?
All
Clint?
over the place.
They do
Germany.
that during-
Generally Germany, Europe, a lot in England,
If they let
actually.
us in there, but
But
The
I was-
question is, would they be thankful at all that we brought it?
I was going to go. I was
That's
going
funny,
to go to
Keegan.
the Patton Museum, but they're not open on Sundays and Mondays, which is
Oh,
when I would be in the
that would be
area.
cool, yeah.
Unfortunately,
so
we'll see if I can.
that was the biggest foray, though. I mean, that would definitely be cool. The other thing I was thinking is we get those sensor kits and we put them on the existing RCs, and we do battle buggies instead of tanks.
Well, Gasland, so.
Gasland asks, yeah, I think it'd be kind of fun too, but that's something we've got to figure out, and we'll definitely keep the group updated on that as we go, because I have to find the individual kits, figure out how to get them to work in the RCs, and how we're going to control them.
Easy to dump a quart of motor oil on the ground for an oil slick.
Yeah.
oh, then you got
No,
permits and
I
all
ain't
that.
driving my RC through oil. No. Jeez.
It'd
no.
be all lubed up.
The EPA.
Clint would have be
um,
terrible.
No. No. You got to clean and maintain your RCs. Running through oil, not good. Not
Yes,
good
it
at
is. It
all.
lubes it up. Lubes everything
No.
up.
Actually, it doesn't, because all your stuff's internal.
Yeah, I don't
So-
think that's what they mean, right?
No,
Yeah.
not
It'd
so
be
much.
nice and slick.
Yeah. And we're going down that road. No.
Actually, technically, yes, Clint. It probably would be a road.
Yeah, it would be. Well, at the very least a trail. Maybe a path, you know.
Maybe Dee can bring some silverware and we'll just throw a fork in the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
No.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I
So
guess
you
you
guys
could
just
go
have
to
to be here. That's all.
The freshly oiled asphalt.
Do you
Yeah.
realize that anytime we start recording a podcast, it immediately deviates in 9 different directions?
No.
It just seems like no matter what we do, it
We've done good on the community.
We have,
Tried
yeah.
to keep it focused. But
Done
it's-
good. Past tense. Done
Yeah.
good.
yeah.
Well, this
That's
is
past tense.
Okay.
this is a meeting at a coffee shop.
Yeah,
this
so-
is,
Well, Greg sees squirrels.
Yeah.
But Clint Squirrel. Sees vehicles.
See, that's true. I do. Yeah.
so together, there's squirrels and vehicles.
There's squirrels.
Yeah.
So, like, if you for Greg, you'd say squirrel.
Yeah.
So is
for
that
Greg,
like
you'd
squirrels
say-
and
Oh yeah, like the old game.
yeah?
where you-
Is that like they're like
Love
squirrels
both.
and vehicles just making
There.
podcasts?
That's what we should do with your RC vehicle you get. We'll get a squirrel and put it in the driver's seat.
Yes, we
can
can
do that.
actually easily. Well,
That'd be
depends
awesome.
on the unit, but yeah.
Well, we can find
sure.
miniature ones to put inside.
No, you can
there.
just print them.
Oh, that's
No.
right.
No, we'll find the squirrel hat and glue it on top. Like the raccoon
Yeah,
hat, but
yeah,
a squirrel
that's
hat.
easy enough.
Squirrel tail.
People take enough of the regular size action figures. Most of your standard action figures will fit in a 1/10 scale RC.
Really?
With maybe you need to cut the legs off the knees, but I mean there might be some modifications required, but we'll figure that out later. But a lot of people do that. Some of them actually have it where they move. So you're really cool is you will have them actually steer the steering wheel, or they'll move their arms.
I've seen that where when the steering wheel turns,
Yep,
their hands
head
are glued.
Yep, and there's some where they'll put their arm up or down or whatever. Just depends on how much detail. Anymore, the RC hobby has become just this detailed hobby. I mean, you've seen the construction stuff. I sent you guys that on just the construction. I mean, those are fully functional constructions.
Well, and now they've seen the mixer. I know how I'm doing my bar. I'm getting the mixer from my bar now.
A lot of people buy the so D doesn't probably know on the construction side. So they're 1/18 scale construction vehicles, RCs.
Okay.
The cement trucks are popular because they function, but you don't mix cement with it. You just pour your alcohol in it and then run the mixer, and you can mix your drinks with it. So a lot of people buy the cement trucks for mixers, and it's actually, from what I'm told, works quite well. I'm not going to invest money in that. I would like a dump truck, a bulldozer, and a backhoe.
Rolled, not
Have you seen the
stirred.
guy that's in Tennessee or Texas that does the gold mining?
Yes.
He's got a fully functioning RC gold mine.
Yeah, it's incredible. But even look at the European stuff that they do. I mean, they were doing a bridge. They were building an entire bridge with their RC stuff. And after a while, watching the video, it does get old watching bulldozers push dirt into the water. But it's still really cool.
Depends on who you are.
You're talking a dozen people at one time running individual vehicles doing all this. You will have 2 or 3 dump trucks moving in and out, dumping dirt, real dirt, 2 bulldozers pushing the dirt. Then you've got a backhoe clearing area on the same, and this is all happening at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, there's a guy over in Europe too that dug his whole basement out.
Yeah, there's a lot that you can do.
It would take forever to do that.
Well, it was him and a couple of buddies, and he had retired early in his 30s. He had done whatever, so he bought an old house and dug out his basement that way. Him and a couple of buddies. They had an actual real size conveyor belt that went upstairs to the backyard.
Yeah.
And dumped it, but they had excavators, bulldozers, and dump trucks. They dug out his entire basement that way.
I could see that.
Wow,
It'd take
you
forever,
could.
but I could see it for sure.
Wait, they did what?
Yeah.
Usually if you hit the ground, it's too
So-
hard, and RC just don't got the power to.
No. So you'd be surprised at how much power some of those hydraulic
A lot of
excavators.
them are pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah, especially when you get up into the $4 or $5 grand excavators.
Yeah.
They've got some power that will compete.
And the stuff that comes out of Japan and
$5,000?
China for those. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
You could buy a car.
Well, dude, you can spend 10 grand on an RC plane.
Oh
But
yeah.
You've got RC planes that are bigger than this room.
They call them drones, Clint.
Well,
No, not even the drones.
Well, even you get
It's
the
a
drones.
747, Greg. Not a
Oh.
drone. It's a
Okay.
747.
Okay.
Well, heck,
missiles.
even my drones that I've looked at
They are.
for
They
buying
literally are
drones,
747
they're even
replica
10
planes
grand a
that
piece.
are the size of this table or
But
bigger.
they
that
got
fly.
2-3
They
hours
also
of like
crash nicely.
What do you crash? I was just gonna say, what was
Yeah,
That's-
landing is rough
I
with
didn't-
those. So a lot of people take those to
Expensive.
air shows and stuff, and
That's
they'll
expensive.
Well, if you landed
It's
on the,
expensive to crash.
It is. now
Yeah.
some of them are made to come apart rather easily for transport, and so if they crash, it's not that big of a deal. And I've seen them land them on. Generally, you see them at air shows, so they're taking off and landing on actual runway. It's just part of the air shows. They're just really cool.
We've got that runway out at what the heck is that park? We were there at that park for the World War II.
Yeah, Seminole
Tank-
Valley used to have a big RC plane area. They just don't anymore.
Oh well, yeah, it's still the runway's still there.
Yeah, and you can run drones out there a lot because there's just it's all open space. I didn't really want to get into a giant drone discussion, but yeah, you could totally do drone
Yeah,
stuff
don't get
there.
me started on that one.
So-
I've been looking at buying one.
But before we started the podcast, we were talking about just 1/10 scale rock crawlers and trail crawlers. Because that's what a lot of them do around here is trail crawling. There's also your dirt racers and your pavement racers, but I don't get into that. It's cool, but after a while, just going around in a circle gets really boring.
It might be alright if you're going to actually compete and actually try to go
Yeah.
semi-pro at least.
It's cool, but at some point, it's like NASCAR. You're going around in a
That is
circle
pro,
over
kid.
and
Make
over
another
and
left
over again.
turn. Make another left turn.
That's
Oh,
why I
beer
like
than
the.
me.
That's why I like the rock crawlers and the trail crawlers because you're walking on the hiking trails. You're literally driving over rocks, and I don't mean just your little gravel in the driveway. I mean boulders the size of a car and some of them are more than capable of doing it. Like the G-Made and the one axial capper I have can almost climb a 90-degree surface.
Crazy.
My TRX6 can climb and it's like a 70-degree surface.
Video proof.
Is that what you're?
I call video proof.
No, it's on YouTube. People test their elevations. You have to look on it, but it's not 90 degrees, but the rock crawlers can do it.
If it's on YouTube, do you have to believe it?
Well,
No, I thought if you have them, I want video proof.
Yeah, she's just calling you out.
I've never tried to do it with mine because I don't like them rolling over.
Okay.
But I've seen them do it online. And my Capra it's a kit, so I haven't built it yet. But I'm going to try to do that. So there probably will be video of me trying to climb that with the Capra.
That will be cool.
Yeah.
They have an actual turn signal kit.
Yeah, you can put the turn signal lights. So
And your hazards.
yeah, and backup lights and everything.
Yeah, I'm on the Traxxas
Website, yeah.
lighting
you look
page
at the
right
light
now.
kits, yeah.
Does it go beep, beep?
No, it does not. Thank God.
However, backup alarm.
You should look up the sound kit. I don't think Traxxas sells the sound kit. So I'll jump to sound kits real quick when we talk about accessories. There is a sound kit that gives you engine sound. It's more like a diesel. So it's got the rattle when you're not moving and it accelerates, and you can have extra stuff like the Dixie horn and stuff like that on it. It's kind of cool. I have no desire to put one in my RC unless you're stuck with some really noisy electronics like a steering servo or something. Then I could see having the sound kit, but generally you just change that to something quieter. I don't like a noisy RC. I don't like an RC that whines as you drive it, and that's the electronics. Usually it means there's dust in it, but some of them can get super loud. I have seen, and you'll see some videos that it's just this constant pitchy whine while they're trying to drive it because the motor is, the way it's geared is just noisy. And some of the steering servos are that way too. Before we jump into the type of RCs, I want to talk about a couple quick things to keep in mind with an RC. One, they're expensive, as you find by looking. They're kind of pricey.
Moolah.
As long as it's quiet, yes, you can play that.
Now, Clint, in all fairness, I have a $13 RC controlled tank. So they're not all expensive, but the ones Clint's looking at.
What I'm talking about are expensive, yes.
Keegan, the microphone can't see that.
It's still gonna sit out here.
Yeah,
put the tank
it's
down.
fine.
You know what? They can't see it, but you know what?
You can hear it.
But they can hear it.
Yeah. It's a little Hobby Lobby tank for $13. It's a cute little tank.
Can I drive over my hand?
Probably not. Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
kinda.
Oh, can.
Oh wow.
Oh, you
Track
threw
fell
a
off.
track.
Oh, you
That happens
derailed
all
Threw a
the
track.
time.
Drew the track off of it.
Actually, that's interesting, huh?
Yeah. That's kind of cool.
And
That was not an RC ambulance. Just letting everyone know.
Yeah. Don't know if you can pick that up. We'll see. But,
You were saying.
yeah, price-wise is a big factor. Then there's your
what do you say an average?
Okay,
a
so-
decent one, $100, $150.
I
mean, just
generally
to get
20
started.
grand.
Now let's
No.
see. What do you think? Just my
So-
question is, I don't mean to interrupt you. My question is,
Yep.
we always talk miniatures, so starter sets run between 80 and 250
Yeah,
bucks.
exactly.
So RCs are in the same price
So
range, right?
before I jump quite in the price, I will caveat with one other thing. RC kits can come in ready to run or RTR or kit. The kit is just that, you build it. Now, most of the time the kits will not include the electronics or the controller. Traxxas does sell kits that do include those, and then you just build it yourself. Kits may also include bodies that are unpainted, in which case you have to learn how to paint the bodies. RC bodies do not paint like model kits.
No, you paint them in reverse, don't you?
You paint them in reverse unless it's a hard body. Then it's just like a model kit. It's just a much larger one. Because a hard body is just a heavier duty plastic.
What do you mean by
Oh, okay.
painting in reverse?
So
Define
you're
reverse.
painting the inside
Of
of the body instead of the outside. So obviously you have to do everything backwards.
So you
Okay.
paint your windshield first, your windows first, and then if you're doing stripes, you paint
If
your
you're painting and
stripes.
painting your windows, yeah.
Yeah.
So like a grill. If say you want a chrome grill and it's bolted into the body,
That's a lot.
you're going to paint the chrome grill first. You're going to paint your little door handles first. You're going to paint that stuff first. Because you're painting on the inside. Then
Your
you
body
will
acts
start-
like the clear coat on the
yeah,
outside.
your body is the clear cover. And the nice thing to note about Lexan bodies, if you get the new ones,
Yeah, now they go click.
they actually, if you had one, it'd make sense if I showed you one. The nice thing with Lexan bodies too is most of them come with a small plastic coating on the outside of the body to protect it from shipping. And a lot of people don't realize this, but it makes the body look a little hazy. I've seen a lot of people do these miracle paint jobs, and then they'll post online, how do I make this bright or clear, or how do I make it look glossy versus dull? And they don't understand that if you just peel the plastic off of it, it's shiny.
Oh, wow.
I have seen I have a lot of comments on the page. They're like, yeah, just peel the plastic off of it, and sure enough, wow, that's bright and shiny, because they are bright and shiny. No,
Put all
interesting
that
enough.
work into it, and then some combine just peels it off.
Yeah, the little RC one that I did of Evie's that I'm selling, the little Bronco, she wanted the color changing paint, so it goes from green to purple.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Like in the heat or?
no, just in the light.
Oh, in the light.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that one was interesting to use because one, I'd never sprayed a Lexan body before. So yeah, let's jump right into advanced painting techniques right away. I sprayed
Good
it.
job, Evie.
I sprayed the body on the inside, and I'm like, it's clear. You can't see through it. Like if you turn it, you can get a little hint of. It's fine. Screensaver, Edie. It's fine. You get a little hint of the color. So I sprayed it again, which I guess you weren't supposed to do. And I'm like, this doesn't work. So I had to look it up online. Well, yeah, dummy, it dries clear. You then spray black over it, and when you flip it over, look on the other side, it's the multi-changing color. It'll go from silver to green to purple depending on the light. So it's kind of cool, but it's kitschy, but it's kind of cool. Yeah, so I learned real quick, but you do paint those in reverse. It really does require you to rethink how you want to do something. Now, this is where I've seen the professionals, they use liquid mask, and they just coat the whole inside of the RC in liquid mask. Then they, on the outside of the RC, like say I want to do flames on my hot rod body.
Mm-hmm.
You draw out your flames on paper, and you tape them to the outside of the RC body. Now, be wary when you're taping the body, because as you pull the tape off, it's going to pull that plastic off the body.
Yeah.
Then you flip it over on the inside, and now you've got your flame pattern, and you just paint.
And trace it.
So you take a X-Acto and you very carefully cut the mask and peel like just the mask for your orange, and then just the mask for your yellow, and then just the mask for your red. However you want to do it, you just do it layer by layer, and you do it wherever you're going to do it. And you'll have mask over the windows, so you want to peel that off if you want your windows to be clear or tinted, or if you're painting the windows.
Yeah.
Or so many different ways you can do with windows. That's a whole other subject there on its own. But then when you're done, most people put a base coat of gray or black or whatever over the whole body just to back everything. And some of the silvers can look a little mirrory when you do that. It gives it a little bit of a reflective surface. But that's how you do your grills and stuff. You're going to paint your chrome around the edges of the grill and maybe around the headlights. And then you're going to, if it has a bumper, you may paint the bumper, just depending.
Yeah.
Now, the one that I bought, he actually painted the outside of the Lexan body with texture paint. And surprisingly, it turned out quite well. I'm actually impressed with how it turned out. It is not how I would have done it, but it is surprising how it turned out. He also cut the back of his Land Rover Defender off to put a truck body on it, and that is one of the things I have to fix. Because the Land Rover Defender, which is on Traxxas's website, because it is Traxxas's,
Yeah.
has your standard enclosed back. And you can buy a pickup kit, which is a box. You cut the behind the doors and the back out, and then you put this pickup box. Well, you have to take that back half that you cut off and put it kind of inside the cab where the doors are, so that it creates the back of the vehicle. Now, there are some 3D printed kits and some aftermarket kits that give you a back, and you just put the whole thing in. In this case, he did that, and then he just hot glued the pieces in. So it doesn't look bad, because with the texture paint it hides it, but you can still see the seam, and it doesn't quite fit right. But it's still not bad. Also, all the windows in that one are destroyed, because he cut out the windows, because the Defender's body comes with molded windows. They're
Yes.
just automatically painted black when you're getting the painted body.
Yeah.
So he cut them out, and then he just used double-sided tape to hold the pieces of plastic in over the windows. Well, every one of them's cracked or broken, including the windshield. It's really annoying. So I'm going to do something different with that one. In fact, I'm just going to armor up the windows on that one so it looks cooler.
It
But
looks pretty good the way it is.
It
though,
does.
man.
I
You
like
got
the
it.
paint job.
Yeah,
Just
well,
a
when
little
we
bit of
ran it.
tweaking. I also don't like that there's no rear body mount for that one, and
But
I need to fix that.
But if you take
Really?
out,
Because I was looking at the other body kit you get, and it looked like there's a tall one in the back and then a short one, or maybe the tall one in the front and a short one in the back.
Which one?
For
Show me what you're looking at.
let's pull it back up again.
Because the Defender body only comes one way.
Oh.
Well, or rephrase
Okay,
that. The Traxxas Defender body only comes one way. You can get some aftermarket Defender bodies.
Oh, you know what? That might have been the one we were
Well,
looking
see-
at. That's not the Defender. It's the Sport. I think that
Yeah,
was
the Sport
one.
is your pickup truck.
I guess if I was to get it too shiny and pretty, you wouldn't want to take it out rock crawling so you get
Oh.
scratched.
It's going to get scratched, so what?
Yeah.
You buy another body later. No big deal. Understand something. If you're buying an RC to rock crawl or trailer crawl,
It's gonna
it
get
is
It's
going to
gonna
get
roll.
scratched, cracked, broken, and eventually have to be
Oh
replaced.
no! So the one I was looking at was the 4 with the TRX 4 crawler kit. It's got. See that one's taller. than
Oh,
the
those
other.
are the body posts.
Yeah.
I don't even use those. Mine are all magnetic, or about to be all magnetic. I made new mounts for those to make them magnetic.
So you're okay. You got a big enough backyard, though. That
Yeah.
You could do your own.
The body-
Yeah, but the dogs like to leave little bombs everywhere. And I'm not about to clean that out of my tires.
No, you don't want to drive over that. Trust me. No, because that will get in
That'd be
places you don't
hysterical.
want it.
I'm sure it will.
Okay. So before I get off topic again, we were initially talking about buying RCs for someone who's not ever really played or used with RCs. That's why you were looking at Traxxas stuff. There's a lot of major brands. So Traxxas, Axial, Losi, Element, RC are just some of the bigger names. Every one of their kits are good kits. It just depends on what do you want, how easy do you want. I personally run Traxxas stuff for the majority of my things because I have found the Traxxas as the easiest to work on and use. If you're getting new into the RC, if you've never run one before, something like the Traxxas TRX4 Sport, ready to run, it's a decent price point. It's a simple pickup. There's no special extra stuff. You buy a battery, you buy a charger, and you just run it.
You said the Sport, the
The
TRX
Sport.
4
The
Sport.
Sport.
Okay, just let everybody know on Traxxas, it's only $369.
Yep. And that's the ready to run kit. There is also a build kit for the Sport, which is also a good thing if you really like to get hands on. The build kit is a good kit. Their Traxxas's build kits are brilliant kits. Bear in mind the TRX4 build kit, not the Sport, but the Forest build kit comes with the electronics and the controller, but everything is bone stock. So if you're wanting to upgrade, then you're spending extra money to upgrade. Now you're into the same realm of buying an RC as normal.
Yeah.
The TRX4 Sport kit also comes with a clear body. The Sport is just I think it's supposed to be a Toyota pickup, as I think
That's what it looks like.
it kind of looks like. Now, there are a lot of neat things that you could get with the Sport. The build kit actually has more. If you look at the build kit,
I like that. That looks
yeah,
kinda
that's cool. Now, look at the build kit's body. Look what the build kit part comes with for the
Okay,
body.
so how do I find the build kit? Is it on?
It should be there in that list. So the Sports build kit is going to include a lot of extra accessories, like the luggage rack, like the ramps.
Oh, the little off-road kit. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
I found it earlier. Hold on.
Now, stuff like the Sport doesn't come with the light kit. So if you want functioning lights, you have to buy the light kit separate. And they can get expensive, and they're actually not that hard to use if you know anything about wiring. But if you're like me with big fingers, it is really hard to put some of that together to try to get it.
So you're saying it's not a big finger friendly?
It really isn't. Most of this RC hobby is not big finger friendly, especially with the body screws and stuff. They are really small. It takes a little bit. Now, this is where tweezers are your best friend, for sure. I like the Sport for the ease of use, but it doesn't offer what I want. So I really, other than my Tumblebug, will be pretty much
Okay.
a hybrid of both. Yeah,
well, that's
so
okay.
that comes with that luggage rack and all those extra accessories.
So that's another $300. Just a heads up.
It is because it's all your electronics. It's all your, well, not really another 100. It's what's the price on that build kit?
On the
The Sport build
Sport
kit.
build kit, $300.
Okay, so it's about $70 cheaper than the ready to run, and it does come with everything, but the body is clear. It needs to be painted, so you would have to buy paint. You would have to know how to paint it. Even if you sprayed it one color, it would still look pretty good. A lot of people like the Sport because they like the ease of it. As we were talking before, Dee, the Sport comes with everything locked in. So you don't have the 2-speed transmission, you don't have the locking differentials, you just go. It's always in 4-wheel drive, it's always locked in. It goes a certain speed, and I want to say the Sport can go about 7 or 8 miles per hour.
So this is the whole thing. I thought it was just the extra add-on parts for it.
No, the
It's the
build
actual
kit
full-
is the whole RC. You build it, but again, it's all stock parts.
Comes with safety glasses. I don't want you to go blind while building.
Sure. Well, actually, trying to assemble some of the shocks and stuff.
It
it's
might not be
really that bad of an idea when you're
Any
compressing.
springs or
Well, the springs are giant, so
Right.
that's generally not an issue. But the shocks, it's a tube with the shaft for the shock
Yeah, like an actual
and
shock.
a little piece on. I can't think of the term because my brain doesn't work. A little flat piece on top, and you fill that with oil. You're pressurizing that chamber, so you got to make sure you get all the air out of it. You need to leave room for expansion, and then you screw it together. So you are putting pressure on that, and then you put in that spring on top of all of it. But that's how the shocks work. And depending on what
So
you
it runs like a
want-
real shock.
Yeah, they are pretty much. Now, they also have others that have a separate chamber that attaches to the side of the shock that's basically an oil reserve chamber. If you don't do the seals right, they will constantly leak, so you got to be careful when you're building shocks. But they work exactly like real shocks.
So wouldn't it be easier for a beginner to just buy a kit
Well,
already done?
Yeah, that's where they're ready to run is your best option.
See, this would be more of like someone who's they work in cars, they like working on cars,
Yeah.
like doing that thing, so they know how it works. It's someone who likes hands-on, likes to,
But
like you said, hands-on.
Yep.
I
building.
see with you, Keegan, an RC kit, eventually, I'd come back in 2 days and you're sitting in a go-kart that you made because you've just expanded.
No,
Yeah.
no. You see, I have this problem called the other half, and there would be a complete halt when I got too far,
Yeah.
Well,
or
I
I'd
mean,
be single.
There's so many options, it sounds like.
There
you
is.
can pretty much just do whatever you want, whatever you're
No.
interested in.
There's also obviously a ton of different types. I'm not going to go into a ton of different types. I'm just going to talk
Yeah.
about the trail crawlers, rock crawlers.
Yeah.
The Axial stuff I have, their SCX 10 line is very similar to the Traxxas, very similar price point. Most of the RCs are going to have the same price point. You're going to go anywhere. So you were saying before price tag, you're going anywhere from about 200. So we'll say 300 to about 600. So
You've got one way
Which, if you
higher
think
than
about it,
on average,
if you think about it, we put that much in a game, in a tabletop game.
we do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Look how much we put in Team Yankee, even.
Yeah.
I guarantee we've
I've
got
got more than
600 plus
I
a
got-
person in Team Yankee. I know I do.
Yeah. I mean, you look at what we got in Warhammer alone.
Well, yeah.
I've got more in Warhammer than I have in my RCs, and I have several RCs.
So you really you're spending about the same
Well-
amount, and this you just charge up and go outside.
Well, mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Batteries are a key factor. Most everything is running LiPo batteries. LiPo batteries are great for power and charging, and if you're not careful, they explode. And I do mean literally explode.
Wow, that's not
So-
good.
Well,
So charge them in your garage,
yes. So they do.
away
make
from the gas.
They do
the
make
gas
things-
if you have a garage.
So generally, I've not had any issues with a LiPo battery. I personally haven't. But you have to inspect your LiPo batteries. You have to make sure you charge your LiPo batteries properly. You make sure you buy a proper charger.
Well, nowadays I've seen Traxxas has an actual charger that
I do,
it will
I have it.
it will read it, and if it thinks that your battery's
Yeah.
too high, it'll stop.
It does. So I've got the Traxxas ID dual charger. I can charge 2 batteries at one time. This is why I convert all my stuff to Traxxas. I have one charger that reads the batteries, and it doesn't matter what brand battery I'm running, it can read it to a degree. I can also do the lithium batteries, but why would I? So the LiPo batteries, I'll just touch on that real quick. As long as you maintain a LiPo battery and don't throw it anywhere, literally don't. If the LiPo battery is not puffy, and you know how batteries get puffy when they get bad, someone will just expand. At that point, you're in a danger zone. So you need to discharge that battery completely. And there are ways to discharge it really easy. I've actually made, because I had an extra Traxxas plug, I made literally just soldered it to 2 wires and a light bulb. And you just plug the battery in the light bulb and just let it go until the bulb's dead. And then you discharge the battery. Then it's safe. If you have a LiPo battery that has gone puffy, even a 2-cell or a 3-cell or whatever, it's now puffy, and you accidentally puncture that, and it catches the air, it will combust. And I mean, it's just like, imagine if you just stood on a Roman candle and held it there. It just goes. And I have seen videos of people who have them charging on their desk that has gone off, and it's burned the house down. Because it will just burn. It's closest I'd say is a thermite. Like a thermite grenade. It just sits there and burns and burns and burns. If it's got energy, especially if it's a fully charged battery that just explodes. I've seen people jump their RC cars, their bashers, and the LiPos, it comes down, there's a little bit of smoke, and the next thing you know, the thing is just a ball of fire, and your RC's gone.
You lost some people and you gained others.
Yeah.
The people that like destruction.
Well, yeah. So my always thought is, okay, so this battery is a very volatile explosive source, and you're just going to put that out to the general public at a reasonable price. Okay, good news. Now, LiPos, though, if you're careful, you charge them right, you take care of them right, you keep track of them, they're fine. I charge my LiPos on the desk right next to me while I'm working. However, they're right there. I can see them. And those other LiPo battery. Lithium polymer battery is what a LiPo is. So you also have what's called storage charge for LiPos. So if you're not going to use the battery for a long-term time, you put it back on your charger and you storage charge. What it actually does is discharge the battery to a certain level and just kind of leaves it there. So it's not fully charged, but it's not empty. So it can sit for long periods of time, because generally when you get a new one, it's just storage charge or whatever.
Well, what's a long period of time considered for those?
Months.
Okay,
maybe
so
years.
if you're not gonna use it for like 2 weeks.
Well, let's say you put your RC away for the winter. Even though
Okay.
I wouldn't with a Traxxas because it's waterproof, and I'd totally run that thing in the snow, and I plan on it. But
Well, yeah,
let's say
well,
you
did you
put it
get
away
the
for the winter,
track
it
kits?
might be in storage for 4 months. You, for example, have so many other things going on. You may not use your RC more than once or twice a month, if that.
Exactly.
So you would want to put it in storage.
Okay.
So you would just run it, and honestly, from dead balance charging, we're talking a couple hours. I mean, I haven't sat there more than probably 2.5 hours charging dual batteries on my charger, and they were good to go.
So I just sort of run it till it's gone, and then
No.
and then before.
But thank you for that. You're almost right. So a LiPo battery cannot be discharged completely, or it might explode. Or maybe you're going on the one end of the trail all the way out to the beach or something.
Yeah.
That would be fun, and then we just record it. We just have people with cameras, and we set up cameras, and we'll
The sad part is, if I get the drone that I want, I can actually lock that drone onto the front truck and put it on follow me.
You could, yeah, as long as there's room to move the drone. That's where it'd be good on the beach. We're doing donuts, and now the beach. Not to get off topic, you can dig little holes in the beach and have to bounce through it and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because
Have
we
them
were
cross
doing
through the
that.
water.
We were doing. I would be careful of crawling through the water, but that's true. I also be careful crawling through mud if you're not set for it. So something like the TRX4 can handle some water, but it's when you're done running it, you clean it.
So they had on Traxxas. They had a video of the older Bronco,
Yeah.
older Bronco body style, and the Defender, I think it was, and they had that going through it was the new Bronco and the old Bronco, and it was going through water. It was up above their tires.
Oh yeah, you could submerge it and it'll still run. The thing with that is to remember, you've got greased axles.
Mm-hmm.
You've got
just like a car.
You've
Just like
got
when
your
you're off-roading
electronics.
a truck.
Your transmission is greased. Your transmission is not sealed. So the motor.
Really, they didn't seal the transmission?
There's no reason to.
There's no fluid in it.
there is grease, but
Grease,
just
but
grease.
we figured that they'd
No.
seal it to keep water out.
it's got to. The transmission doesn't have to be waterproof. Now there is some casing that helps minimize that, but to run your transmission, you take the cover off, and there's the gear assembly that you bump your motor to, and you just put the cover back on it. Most of the
So there's
transmission,
not like a rubber seal or nothing.
there's no rubber seals. Now you have bearings with rubber for a lot of that, but you still have to maintain it. Your electronics have seals on them. At least for Traxxas, I've noticed this is not true for Axial, but for Traxxas, the receiver case that your receiver sits in, that's where your RC and all your electronics go, has a rubber seal that goes around it, and you just tighten it down, and it waterproofs that case. Because while your receiver is waterproof, and you don't want to flood it if you can help it,
Yeah.
but your electronic speed controller sits out in the open, and it usually has an aluminum heatsink on top of it. It goes underwater. Your motor, electric motor, goes underwater, and it usually has vents, depending on which motor you have, brushed or brushless.
Which I don't understand what the hell the
Okay,
difference is.
so brush motors have brushes. You understand electric motors? Oh,
A
like
little bit.
alternators, they have brushes. That's what the spinning of the spinning of the rotator creates an electrical force.
Right.
With the brushes. So a brushless just doesn't have these brushes, it uses a different system. The nice thing with brushless motors is your speed controller is built into the motor. So you don't generally have a separate speed controller.
No, okay.
That's nice. You pay more for a brushless motor, and I do mean you pay more. You're in a $200 range for just the motor.
That's a big
You
variance.
can also get some super great performance out of a brushless motor versus a brushed motor, depending on what you want to do. I'm generally not going to run a brushless motor because I don't need that much performance, and I don't want to spend that much money.
No. See, I want to eventually get into the racing, go to the fairway, and do the racing that they have in the parking lot.
Yeah, so those are nothing to do with.
I know. I said
No,
eventually.
those are the Tech Force that you look at for the Traxxas Tech Force, and that's a whole different ball game.
I know.
But the
they're,
stuff
they
that
look fun.
the stuff that they do is cool, but it's the stuff I don't want to do because to me it's you're just going around in the track in a circle. The Tech 4 stuff is cool because that's what they're doing, and the Tech 4 are also drift cars. Yes, you can drift the RCs.
Well, yeah. But what I want to do is get into the
You know,
off road.
a drift car where they go around the corners and slide around the corners instead of turn around a corner.
Oh,
That's called a drift car. Well, they have RC drift cars.
Yeah.
okay.
They're you got to learn. Those are ones you really have to master how to drive to get it to work.
And you got to have some smooth pavement.
And you really need
Anything.
specific. Yep. And they're neat, but there's no way I don't want to
I don't
deal
know
with
if
it.
I've
No,
ever
because
seen
I'd
that.
like to get into the off road truck racing.
So
That's where I'd like to get into, like the trophies truck.
yeah, those are cool. There's just not much of a league around here for that stuff anymore.
I think there used to be one down at
Yeah.
Hawkeye Down.
Yeah,
but that was it.
there isn't anymore. There is not a lot of that. Really, what is around here is a lot of the trail crawlers. Now there are trail crawling competitions that are awesome.
Around here?
Yes,
Huh.
Palisades. So a trail crawling competition is timed.
Well, yeah.
So you literally are crawling up and down rocks, but they have flag markers, gates, what they call them, and you have to get through gates. And you're
Yeah, just
timed
like
to
an
gates,
actual off-road
and you have
competition.
penalties, but you're trying to crawl up a rock face and keep from falling off.
Yeah.
So that's where I might be more interested in the crawling competitions in that regard.
Could be cool to start going around and competing and everything
No,
else.
Evie. No, okay. So for what I want to do with our stuff, buggy or tank, is just have a unit we drop onto our RCs that we already own. So
Yeah.
we don't modify our RC any that can be controlled, but I still don't know how we're going to control it. Because you got to be able to rotate the turret and shoot the gun. And unless you have a multi-channel controller that does it for you,
Why
you're going to
couldn't
need.
you add on make a 3D print like a clip that would hold another small controller?
You could.
Like, do I make
So-
sense?
The winch controls have a remote control.
Okay, so why
So-
can't you do like a winch control to go?
That's-
Because all you're doing is going side to
That's
side.
the thought. That's the thought. Is you have a simple controller like the winch control, and you just literally left, right, shoot. Because you won't be going up or down. There's no point with up and down is great with the tanks, but you use your second stick on the controller of the tank to run the turret.
Right.
So in this case with the RCs, you're going to have to get the RC up or down if you want it. If you want to come up here and shoot down, you're going to have to nose the RC down.
Either go off the edge or
Yeah, so you do run the risk of rolling, and that's why I want to build an individual housing that the laser system sits in that can handle when the RC rolls over. So if you've got it strapped to a roll bar in the back of your buggy, and that buggy goes tumbling down a hill, you're not going to destroy all the electronic units doing it.
right.
So, but yeah, something simple, and it might be simple as literally using the winch control remote.
That's about as simple as you're gonna.
So that's something we got to look into on that. But I think there's a way to do it. Now, if you have a multi-channel controller, you can tie it into your receiver, and you will have buttons on your controller to rotate left, right, and shoot.
Because that'd be kind of cool to have.
But then you're trying to drive something, and when you're driving something that you're holding basically this pistol grip controller, and you're steering it with your hand on this, and trying to rotate a turret, it's not as easy.
Good luck.
So that's where I think in a second remote, you would basically roll, or some of them you could probably attach that to the other side of it. If you were good at with your finger, while you throttle with this finger. I'm glad people can't see this. You use the throttle control with this finger, and you
We're not people.
would run. Anyway, you would run the other with your index finger. Anyway. So, yeah, moving on. That was the thought with that. Now, right now, I think if we start with the tanks and see how the tanks actually go when you've got the proper setup, I think we might just find the tanks are a lot of fun and not even worry about the other part.
Well, I think it'd be cool to have an RC crawler in one of the backyards, and then a tank track in the backyard.
Yeah.
Do it over the trails with the tanks.
The tanks price range go from anywhere from a couple $100 to $600, so they're not any more.
So
or
they're
less
about the same
expensive.
price range.
And the tanks, from my understanding, if you're going to do it seriously, you want metal tracks, metal hull. You want a lot of the metal stuff in those, not the plastic.
Well, yeah, plastic gonna.
So,
I mean, they probably
yeah, it's
shake,
just-
rattle, and
Yeah, the metal is apparently it's more money, but if you buy it already built with the metal, you're already ahead of the game, and it's a lot more durable and can handle a lot.
oh yeah,
more.
think of all that.
And-
There's no suspension.
Yeah, true, and you're less likely to toss a metal track than a rubber or plastic track.
Right, because you can adjust. Well, you can adjust if your track stretches. You can adjust your metal track.
So, I mean, that's something we'll have to look into more. I like the idea of doing the trail crawl just as a getaway, because really, as Greg will attest, just going out for an hour and just driving, following this stupid little toy on the trail. First of all, you walked a lot more than you thought you were walking.
Yeah,
And
that's true.
we were just having fun, just trying to get this thing to go up and
It
down
was a
steps and other
distraction, and
things.
you're
Yeah,
outside getting air and sunshine.
yeah. So,
Well, and if there's competition, it'd be cool to get the GWC
yeah,
in some competitions.
yeah. Well, that's would work
Absolutely.
All things to think about. I mean,
for sure. So, I mean, starting out, since none of you have ever run RCC, the TRX4 Sport is a good option because it's easy to run. Especially, I think that would be good for you.
I don't know. I kind of like the look of the
But-
TRX6 just because of the six
So,
wheels and
the
the six-wheel
six-wheel-
drive.
Okay, so I will never say anything bad about the six wheel. I'll tell you that right now. It crawls like a monster. It basically takes all the challenge courses that everyone has with all the TRX4 and throws it out the window. But a couple things to mind you with the TRX6 if you're keeping like the stock body. It will roll over. That body is higher. You've got your center of gravity is different. There's some stuff you got to do to adjust the center of gravity.
Well, yeah, because what I want to do is I want to bring it to a flatbed. I don't because you got the roll bar on the back of yours, don't you?
Well, it does.
Like a roll cage type deal.
But I'm using Mercedes body. But as soon as I put the luggage rack on it, boy, that has some serious body roll. And I had to change springs and a few other things to keep it from flipping. The TRX6 is a unique beast because the wheels are different from all the other Traxxases. So wheels on
They're not the same wheels.
they're different. Most of your standard, actually all your standard TRX4s use 1.9-inch wheels.
Okay.
Most of your axials, most of your others use 1.9 inch. There are a 2.2-inch wheel, which is a bigger tire that doesn't always fit under things because those are for your rock buggies. Those are the ones your rock crawlers use the 2.2s more. They're
okay.
bigger rim, bigger tire. A TRX6 cannot run a 2.2 without some serious modification because the back wheels will rub. However, here's where it's different. First of all, the TRS6 comes stock with glued wheels, which means the rim and the tire are glued on, and they are a pain to get off. as I know, I tried that yesterday. It didn't work as well as I hoped.
Instead of being a bead lock.
Right. So bead lock simply means you've got the rim has a center piece, then you get 2 outer pieces with screws. And you put the center piece inside your tire, you put the 2 outer pieces over the outside of that. So the bead of the tire is trapped inside those pieces, then you screw it together, and that holds that tire in there.
It prevents slippage.
It doesn't let the tire slip, so it can't spin, it can't come apart, and then you're generally filling the tire with foam. So instead of putting air in a tire, you're putting foam in the tire. And the foam can change how the tire works. You can get a heavier foam or a lighter foam. You can get an opener.
So you do that
full
yourself?
foam. Yeah, you can. So that's what I'm doing with my TRX6.
Worst case scenario, we at least have a mechanic here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just want to explain bead lock real quick because I figured that would throw you
Not
by
a
just
clue.
the term. Yeah. All it means is you're locking the tire's bead together in the rim itself. Once you see one, it would make perfect sense. I don't like glue. Gluing literally means you glue the tire to the rim.
Because if I'm mechanically inclined.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
right.
I did locksmithing.
I think a bead
in
lock
our
would make
basement
sense
as
to
a
you once you
teenager.
saw
Yeah, say
it.
one. Yeah,
So
say
I took apart locks.
Yeah, once you saw a bead lock
That's my
rim,
little-
I think you'd understand it perfectly.
Yeah.
I think it'd make
my
perfect sense
after-school
to
job
you.
in the basement.
Um,
My dad was a locksmith, so I totally
so the reason I say that
mechanically inclined.
the TRX6 is weird is because for them to get the look they wanted, the TRX6 has a 2.2 inch rim with a 1.9 inch wheel stretched over it and then glued onto it. Now I will say this, the stock TRX6 wheels are the bomb. I mean, those tires are just amazing. But for you to change your rim, you have to do it with a 2.2 rim. You cannot put a 1.9 inch rim on the tire. Even though it's a 1.9 inch tire, you have to use a 2.2 inch rim because you've stretched that tire now. I tried it this morning just to see if it worked. It did not. Literally, the rim will fall right through it. Because you've now stretched that tire to a 2.2 inch size, so you have to use 2.2 inch bead lock rims.
Yeah.
Or you completely change the TRX6 to 1.9 inch tires. And then you've got small tires on this big body truck, and it looks weird.
It looks funny.
So, that's the one thing with the TRX6. I love the TRX6. I'm going to build another one. Because I have a really cool crawler idea for mine, so I'm going to build it up.
no, I just want to make a flatbed. Like I said, I want to
Yep.
do a flatbed with like a cross box toolbox.
Yeah,
And
you'd have a lot of fun with it. Also, keep in mind with the TRX6, it has an extra set of wheels, an extra set of shocks, an extra gear drive system. So when you start doing upgrades like adding brass or putting different shocks on or trying to find new rims, you need more than standard because most rims come in sets of 4.
so you have to buy like 2 sets.
And when your set of rims is $100 for one set of 4,
So you're spending
and you
$200.
need 6,
Yeah.
you've got some extra rims.
So it might be better to start with a TRX4.
You would be better. So I started with the 6 just because I already understood RCs and I really wanted the 6 and I had the money. They are super expensive. Really, they're not that bad considering what you get.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pricey.
Yeah.
But what
Okay, I see
you get,
it.
when you get the fact that a TRX6 can pretty much run circles around most of the TRX4s
Mm-hmm.
and perform just as well or better, it is kind of worth the extra money.
But
that-
will they allow you to compete it against the TRX4?
Depends on the competition. There are different classes of competition. Most of the
That's
professional
cool.
classes, you're not running a 6-wheel at all. I don't care. I still want a really cool 6-wheel rock crawler.
So is this the
Yeah.
one you've got?
Yeah, that's the one I have
Okay.
in the charcoal gray body. And I've added. The nice thing with the TRX6 is it comes with a full light kit. It's already on it, and they don't just illuminate and look cool. They're functioning lights.
Oh, so they're
They
actually
actually-
bright.
Yeah, they're LEDs, and then I added another LED light with the luggage rack, and now I've got an even bigger LED light.
But is that the one that you had to build?
No, I bought that one. It's ready to go.
Okay.
Now you can also get a rock light kit. And a rock light kit, because all the TRX4s, all their fenders are set for a rock light kit. So there's little doors on the fenders you unscrew, and they're lights that shine down on the wheels from the fender well. So when you're at night, it illuminates what's below the wheels, so you can see the rocks.
Hmm.
And it looks cool because you can get different colored LED lights. You
Yeah.
can
So
change
it's like
them.
underglow for.
It's basically underglow. Yeah, I'm never putting it on mine, but it's cool.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, we'll have to Let's go back to the subject again. Maybe next month we can all get,
Well, before snow flies, I
it'd be
think
nice
we
to
should,
get another.
I've got enough extra RC stuff. We can all just go out and run for a little while, and you guys can try them.
Okay.
Evie's buggy, I'm not super impressed with it without
Which one?
your Wraith.
Oh yeah.
Now her Wraith is an axial. It's not a Traxxas. It's they call it a rock racer, but it's awful slow. That's right. It's not very fast, and it doesn't balance real well. People love
it
the
might
Wraith.
for a rock racer. You wouldn't want it fast.
No, you want it. Rock racers are just that. It's so you wanted to do the off-road racing in the dirt.
Yeah.
A rock racer is doing off-road racing on the rocks. That's what a rock racer does.
Yeah, but if you're going fast, you might bounce off that rock. You might go whoop.
You might. However, a lot of those rock racers, the suspension is designed to compensate for all that. And
if
you have very little bounce steer.
And if you practice and know what it can
Yeah,
do,
exactly.
then you know how fast you can go.
Yep.
Yeah, because you can adjust
when
the
you're
speed on them.
competing.
So hers, I just need to add some brass to the lower end of it. Probably change the motor to make it a little faster because it is just too slow. For her, it's okay.
Is it a motor or transmission problem?
Motor. It's
Okay.
a motor on that one. The stock motor is just not fast because Traxxas has 2-speed transmissions except for the Sport.
Right.
So a Traxxas, my TRX6, that thing's awesome. You ever look at the TRX6 racer? He got it up to 80 some miles per hour, literally 80 miles per hour in a TRX6. Now, granted, it's real low to the ground and it looks cool, but
So it's slammed and lowered.
oh yeah, it's meant to race. It's got a custom, carbon fiber body and chassis and everything.
Oh, Jesus.
But he uses the Mercedes body. It looks cool. It's got the big aerodynamic wing off the back. I mean, it's sweet looking. But yeah, he got it up there high speed. Even crashing it held up pretty well. He rolled it a couple times, and it handled it beautifully. But another ambulance. But yeah,
City life.
so rock racers are kind of cool. I just don't have a desire. But hers was got because her car was like $329, and it was ready to run. It's a buggy, so the wheels are all outside the body. It's got a little like really narrow old style Bronco body on it, and you flip the hood up to put the battery in it. And it's a nice RC. It can't climb things. Like people rave about how great it is. We tried going up a concrete slab like this, and it will just keep flipping over. It needs,
About a 6-inch.
yeah,
lift.
it needs weight on the bottom of the wheels to keep it from rolling over. Once you balance that out, it should climb beautifully. Now the Capra that I'm building is a rock crawler, and so much wider wheelbase.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into the portal up versus non-portal axles. Traxxas, almost all their all of Traxxas' TRXs are portal axles.
Yeah.
I love portal axles. Her Wraith is a standard axle. The Capra is a portal axle. Portal axle is just simply you have your axle and you have another set of gears below it, and your wheels attach to the gears below it, so it raises everything up. It gives you some ground clearance. That's really all portal axle is. Extra gears and extra stuff you have to maintain and clean and working on them are super easy. I mean, you'd have no problem taking the things apart.
Right.
I mean, you would literally, because you've done all the small detail lock work,
Yeah.
you'd have absolutely no problem taking the gear drive systems apart, the transmission.
I had
It
used
would be-
tweezers all the time.
It would
and
be, well, you wouldn't even need,
springs and
yeah,
all
there's
kinds of
no
stuff.
tiny, like, watch springs or anything. There's none of that. You want it's all pretty much standard gearing. Even the switch, the differential locks and unlocks, it's a cable that goes through the axle, and it's just a little slide bar that moves left or right. So yeah, you'd have no problem taking those apart. Because you do have to take it apart. You have to take the cover off. You have to grease the gears. You have to maintain and clean that. Because especially if you're running in water, if you don't and get water in there, they will rust up and it'll seize it. That one chassis that I'm buying from the kid is all seized up, the axles and the transmission, because he would run it in water and never did anything with it. He just threw it on the shelf.
So where are you finding these kits at?
Oh, the hobby shop had that one, so this kid is giving me this chassis. So I'll gut it apart, new gears, new transmission, not worry about it. The other TRX4 I'm building, the Bronco, I got all the pieces off eBay. I think I have $100 invested in that thing so far. But I don't have all the electronics. I don't have the axles for it yet. I just got shocks for it.
Kind of like buying a project truck.
It is a project. I just built this one how I wanted, yeah. This one will be built. I'm building this one because then I don't have to buy the stock electronic stuff. I'll put in the high-end stuff. And
Yeah, but what I'm
it is
saying
built
is
how I
it's
want
kind of like when you go out and buy your project car and I'm going to build this, honey. And
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing. And so far, I mean, it's slow going, but I mean, the chassis done. Plus, I'm with the 3D printing and casting aluminum, I'm converting body mounts to magnet mounts. I'm building some other stuff. The TRX4s have a battery tray in the front, right?
Yeah.
Behind the bumper. You put a battery on it, and people do put the battery on it. Well, I'm going to make some brass weights that just sit on it, and you just Velcro it on. The brass, because then that puts weight on the front end. So when you're up in the air, the weight will bring it back down. It'll help keep your front tires down, because if you're trying to pull with your front tires and they're floating in the air,
They don't really do much
you
for
don't
it.
do any good. The TRX6 is really good for taking that front end straight up.
Well, yeah, but you got 6 tires pushing
You do,
and pulling.
but sometimes those four can't push you forward enough because the front can't bite to pull it over the edge of something.
Oh,
You put some brass on that, you put some weight, it'll put those tires down. Those tires are super grippy, they're sticky and grippy, they'll pull. And when you're already driving with those front wheels anyway, that'll help just pull that thing over. Because once that front wheel comes over the lip, it just pulls the back end along with it. And then those back tires just come up and they just float there. So the interesting with the TRX6 is when you look at how it's functioning on 4 wheels. The rear wheel pushes. That's all it does is push. That back axle is just there to give you that boost. That's why it can do some of the things the TRX4 aren't able to do real
you
well.
got that boost.
You've got that extra axle just kind of shoving. That's all it does. It's just shoving. Now, if you run the TRX6 backwards, you've got 4 wheels powering through everything right next to each other. So it's a very short wheelbase those tires are just biting and going. You could climb like crazy with that thing in reverse. I've seen people actually reverse theirs and put the steering on that last axle.
yeah.
And then fix the front wheel, and it's literally a 4-wheel front, 2-wheel rear. And they'll put like the Mercedes Unimog body on it or something and climb with it because it's just those 4 tires are biting and you're just dragging that back axle along for the ride at that point. It's kind of neat, but that requires a lot. And you can 4-wheel steer these RCs.
Oh, jeez.
It's actually really simple.
I don't think I want to get into that complicated
Oh,
shit
that's actually on
Yeah.
rock crawling. I might do
On
that
rock
with
crawling,
the
it might be
axial. I might do that with a Capra just because not only it's nice to have the dig, but 4-wheel steering when you're going a rock face like this,
yet. Yeah.
it's handy to be able to
It'd be nice
switch around.
it'd be nice if you could get it to where it crab also.
They kind of almost can, not quite, but kind of.
Yeah.
But when you're doing through gates that are on the side of a rock face, that's where you really want the steering. Otherwise, you have to back up and reposition.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I suppose.
yeah, that's a long one on RC stuff, but
Well, no, that's okay. It's just we gotta wrap it up anyways,
Yep.
you guys. But it's
Interesting.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot to the RC thing. We should probably do
yeah,
more and split them up
we
on
should.
other ones. But for starter sets, it sounds like a good deal. I mean, if that's your thing, man, they're fun.
Yeah,
we had fun. when
we had a lot of
did it.
fun. It was a stress reliever. That was the big thing. It was really, I just find it's kind of zen out and all.
Oh yeah,
this
I mean
little thing around.
you're out in the air, you're out
Yeah,
in the open,
so-
not in your house.
I'll have enough here soon where everyone can run one at the same time, and then you guys can just give it a shot.
Well,
Yes, even
I
you.
think I want to get a TRX4. It'd be nice to kind of, I don't know, it'd be nice to get that kit, but I don't know if I have the time to put it
I
together.
would go with just a ready to run, but then at that point, why don't you look on Marketplace? I've seen some of the Blazers come up for about $400, $450. That
In this area?
Defender, yeah, that Defender I bought was $400.
Huh?
Defender being a little longer wheelbase, but
Yeah.
so the 2021 Bronco is the longer wheelbase like the Defender and the Mercedes and the others. So the wheelbase is very important when you're trying to find bodies.
Yeah.
If you don't care about the body, then you're good to go. Since you don't have a lot of time to put in something, a TRX4 Sport with the truck body, you could dress it up, you could do a little of this and that, but you can just go and run with it. And you can keep up with everybody else.
Right.
The only thing I would change on the TRX4 Sport right out of the gate would be the tires. They're not as grippy. Tires are not actually that expensive. You can get a good set of tires, 4 tires for $50. You can either use the rims that come with it, or you can get different rims. I would do the metal rims versus the plastic rims.
And
You
bead
can
lock
get
them.
metal and bead lock either way. Well, TRX4 tires are bead locked.
Oh, are they? Okay.
The Mercedes is the TRX6, as far as I know, the only one that's actually glued.
Screw that.
But the glued ones, those tires are so good. No, I'll figure out a way to get them off. I've been told ways to get those off.
So they're better tires.
They're grippy. They're sticky and grippy.
Okay.
So, and you can buy aftermarket tires that are super good, and stock tires are good, but I have certain tires I prefer and want. So, but yeah, it's something to discuss. I mean, you're going to end up upgrading just a little bit anyway.
So
All right.
Whatever you get, even if you're doing the miniatures, you're gonna upgrade.
Oh yeah,
with
for sure.
everything.
Terrain, whatnot, for sure.
Well, we'll go ahead and call it a day here on this one. We got some things we gotta do, and we'll do our live show in a little bit, so.
It's been a day.
Yes, it has been a day. It's been
Mhm.
fun.
Actually, it's been 4 hours.
Well,
No,
we got here early.
yeah. So you guys, join us for the show if you'd like, 4 p.m. on Sunday afternoon there. Anything else there, Clint?
No, that's all I got for now.
All right, we'll go back to this in the future. Thanks, guys. Have fun.